Joe Rogan once said, Islam has some hidden gems that nobody talks about, and honestly, he's right. Today, I'm breaking down 8 powerful Islamic wisdoms, so timeless, so practical, that they'll blow your mind. And maybe even make Joe go, whoa, I didn't see that coming, ready, let's roll. You ever notice how the loudest person in the room is usually the one nobody takes seriously? They're talking, talking, talking. And the more they say, the less it actually means. But the one who's quiet, the one who speaks rarely but with purpose, that's the one everyone leans in for. That's the one people remember. Islam nailed this truth 400 years ago with one simple principle: speak good, or stay silent. And silence here doesn't mean awkwardness. It doesn't mean being shy or weak. It means power, control, intention. It's like having a sword in your hand but knowing exactly when to use it. Think about it. Words can build bridges, but they can also burn entire cities. How many friendships, marriages, and careers have been destroyed not because of actions, but because of a few careless words? One slip of the tongue and boom, damage done. That's why the Prophet said your tongue is like a sharp blade. Protect it, because once it cuts, you can't take it back. Now picture this. You're in an argument. Your heart's racing, your fists are clenched, your brain is screaming, say something back. But instead, you just pause, you breathe, you choose silence. In that moment, you've already won. You've won against your ego. You've won against the trap of anger. And here's the crazy part. Most of the time, the other person feels it. They feel that restraint. Suddenly, the fight fizzles out because your silence is louder than their shouting. That's not weakness. That's mastery. And look, even modern psychology backs this up. Therapists talk about the power of active listening, about how people don't really want to be defeated in an argument. They just want to feel heard. Sometimes silence is the only way you actually hear someone. You stop planning your counterattack and you just listen. That's when real connection happens. Islam had this mapped out long before psychology caught up. Silence isn't empty. It's loaded with wisdom. Ever notice how some of the greatest thinkers, leaders, even comedians, yes, Joe Rogan included, use silence like a tool. That pause before the punchline, that moment of quiet before asking a deep question. It creates space, it builds suspense, it makes the next words hit harder. If they just kept talking non-stop, you'd tune out, but the pause, that's what makes you lean in. Islam teaches the same rhythm. Don't fill every space with noise. Leave room for meaning, and here's the wildest part. Silence doesn't just protect others from your words. It protects you from yourself. The Prophet once said, most people will be dragged into ruin by what their tongues earned. Think about that. How many times do we regret speaking without thinking? A late night text, a heated comment online, a sarcastic jab we thought was funny but cut someone deep. If you look back, it's rarely silence we regret. It's almost always words. Silence is the insurance policy against regret. But let me flip it even deeper. Silence isn't just about what you don't say. It's also about what you do say when you finally open your mouth. Because when you're selective with your words, when you only speak what's true, kind, and necessary, suddenly your voice carries weight. People listen because they know you don't waste words. That's influence. That's impact. It's not the flood of words that moves people. It's the drop of wisdom at the right moment. And honestly, isn't that the secret of all great communication? Think of the Quran itself. It doesn't drown you with endless noise. It gives precise, powerful verses that echo through generations. That's divine communication. Every word chosen, every pause meaningful. That's the model, and you and I, we can borrow that. We don't need to comment on everything. We don't need to win every argument. We don't need to post every thought. The value of your words goes up when you protect them with silence. So, the next time your tongue is itching to clap back, the next time your ego wants to prove a point, remember this: silence is not empty. It's charged with discipline, wisdom, and strength. Sometimes the best reply isn't a reply at all. Sometimes silence is the thunder that makes your presence unforgettable, but silence is just the start. What about when life gets loud and chaotic? That's where lesson 2 kicks in. You ever notice how everyone says, be patient, like it's some soft, passive thing? Like it means sitting quietly in a corner, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for life to magically fix itself. But in Islam, patience is nothing like that. Patience isn't weakness, it's not passive, it's raw strength. It's an active choice to stand firm when everything in you wants to snap. That's why the Quran calls patience half of faith. Half, that means if you don't get this, you're walking around with only 50% of the fuel you need. Think about it like this. Life is basically a constant sparring match. Challenges, setbacks, disappointments. They keep coming at you, round after round. You can't stop the punches, but you can decide how you take them. Do you panic and swing wildly until you burn yourself out, or do you stay calm, breathe, and wait for the opening? That's patience. It's like martial arts for the soul. You don't meet chaos head-on, you redirect it. You absorb the hit, but you don't let it break you. You hold your ground until the storm passes. Now, here's what's fascinating. The prophet said, "No one has been given a gift better and more abundant than patience." That's heavy. He didn't say wealth or power or status. He said patience. Why? Because every blessing you want in life, success, relationships, peace of mind requires it. You want to build a business, patience. You want to raise good kids, patience. You want to deepen your faith, patience. You want to get through heartbreak, failure, rejection, you guessed it, patience. It's the invisible glue that holds everything together, and here's the thing. Patience isn't just sitting around waiting for the rain to stop. It's moving forward even while it rains. It's tying your camel, as the prophet said, and then trusting God with the rest. Imagine someone planting seeds in a field. If they're impatient, they'll dig up the soil every day to check if the crops are growing. But the wise farmer plants, waters, waits, that waiting, that trust, that's patience, and eventually the harvest comes. Impatience kills the crop before it even has a chance. But let's make it real. We live in a world where patience is almost extinct. Everything's instant. Instant noodles, instant downloads, instant likes. We tap a screen and boom, it's there. And when it's not instant, we lose it. Slow Wi-Fi can ruin someone's entire mood. Think about that. If we can't handle waiting 10 seconds for a page to load, how do we expect to handle the big delays in life? Delays in dreams, in healing, in prayers being answered. That's why patience is more relevant now than ever. It's not old-fashioned, it's survival, and here's the beauty of it. Patience isn't just enduring pain, it transforms the pain. When you're patient, hardship doesn't just break you, it shapes you, it turns you into someone stronger, calmer, more resilient. The Quran says, indeed, Allah is with the patient. Imagine that. The creator of the universe, right there with you, holding your hand through the trial. That means your waiting isn't empty. Your tears aren't wasted. Your struggle isn't unseen. Patience is the bridge between your pain and your breakthrough. And it shows up in small moments too. When you're stuck in traffic and your blood pressure is rising. When someone disrespects you and your ego is begging to clap back. When a dream you've been chasing seems to be slipping further away. Those are patient, straining moments, micro battles where you either let your anger drive or you let patience steer. And every time you choose patience, you're stacking wins. You're building a muscle that'll carry you when life throws the big storms. Even neuroscience backs this up. Studies show that people with higher self-control and patience actually live happier, healthier lives. Their stress levels are lower, their relationships last longer, their decision-making is sharper. It's not magic, it's discipline, and Islam has been telling us this from day one. Patience is not just a virtue, it's a superpower. So the next time life throws you a curveball, instead of asking why me, flip the script. Ask, what is this teaching me? Maybe it's teaching you to slow down. Maybe it's preparing you for something bigger. Maybe it's polishing your character. Every delay has a hidden delivery. Every setback has a seed of growth, but only patience can unlock it. And that's the twist. Patience isn't passive at all, it's active strength. It's what keeps your soul steady when life tries to throw you off balance. But here's the thing, patience isn't just about waiting. It leads straight to something even wilder, giving and watching abundance multiply. Here's a paradox that flips our modern logic upside down. In Islam, giving charity doesn't make you poorer, it actually makes you richer. That sounds like a riddle, right? Like, how can giving away what you own somehow increase it? But that's exactly what the Prophet taught. He said, charity does not decrease wealth. And the more you think about it, the more it makes sense. Picture money like water. If you hoard it, if you stash it away in a corner and never let it move, what happens? It goes stale, it starts to stink, it loses its life. But if you let it flow, if you pour it out where it's needed, it circulates, it nourishes, and it comes back to you fresher, stronger, multiplied. That's charity, that's sadaqah. It's not a loss, it's an investment in a currency bigger than dollars. And what's beautiful is that Islam ties this so deeply to trust in God. When you give, it's like you're saying, I believe there's more where that came from. You're not clinging to the dollar bill like it's your lifeline. You're holding it lightly, knowing the real provider is unlimited. That shift in mindset, it's freedom, because suddenly money isn't your master. It's just a tool, and tools are meant to be used, not worshipped. But let's break it down in real life. How many times have you seen someone who's generous always seem to have more? Not just more money, but more peace, more respect, more opportunities. It's like doors open for them. That's not coincidence. The Quran literally says, whatever you spend in charity, He will replace it. Notice, it doesn't say maybe, it says He will. The replacement might not always come in cash. Sometimes it's health. Sometimes it's protection from harm. Sometimes it's a job opportunity you didn't see coming. That's divine multiplication at work. And here's the kicker. Science backs this up too. Studies show that generous people actually feel wealthier. Their brains release dopamine and oxytocin, the feel-good chemicals when they give. It lowers stress, boosts happiness, and even strengthens the immune system. So charity doesn't just multiply wealth, it multiplies well-being. Islam had this down long before neuroscience discovered it. Let me give you a story. Imagine a man who only has a single date to break his fast, just one, but instead of keeping it, he shares half with someone else who's hungry. From the outside, it looks like he just lost 50% of his food, but spiritually, that act is priceless. He didn't just feed his stomach, he fed his soul, and what happens? People remember his kindness, they're inspired to give too, and suddenly that one date has multiplied into countless good deeds. That's wealth beyond numbers, and you don't have to be rich to give. That's another misconception. Islam makes it clear, even a smile can be charity, a kind word, helping someone carry their groceries, picking up something harmful from the road. The point isn't the amount, it's the heart behind it. Because when you give sincerely, even if it's small, it carries the weight of something massive. Now, let's be real, the world tells us the opposite. Stack as much as you can, guard it. Don't let anyone touch it. But where does that mindset lead? Greed, anxiety, fear of losing it all. You end up with full pockets but an empty heart. Islam flips that script. It says, give and watch it come back. Share and watch it grow. It's counterintuitive, but it works, because when you trust in abundance instead of scarcity, you live lighter. You live freer, and here's the ultimate proof. The Prophet, who could have lived as the richest man in Arabia, chose instead to give almost everything he had. Sometimes he'd give away an entire flock of sheep just to soften someone's heart. People would walk away not just with sheep, but with faith. He knew something we forget. True wealth isn't in your hands, it's in your heart. So the next time you feel like clinging to every last penny, remember this. Your wealth doesn't shrink. When you give, it multiplies in ways you can't even calculate. Charity plants seeds in both worlds. And when those seeds grow, they feed you with blessings bigger than money ever could. But hey, money isn't everything. There's something far more powerful than wealth itself, and that's strength. Not the kind you show in the gym, but the kind you show in mastering yourself. You know what's funny about strength? We usually picture it as someone flexing in the gym, veins popping, lifting weights heavier than a car. And sure, that's impressive, but Islam flips that entire definition. The Prophet said, "The strong man is not the one who can wrestle, but the one who can control himself when angry." That line right there, that's a total mic drop, because think about it. Anyone can throw a punch. Anyone can yell, slam a door, send an angry text at 2 in the morning. That doesn't take strength. That's easy. The real challenge is holding back when your blood is boiling, when your ego is screaming to explode. That's strength on a whole different level. It's wild because anger is one of those emotions that sneaks up on us like a fire. It starts small. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Someone disrespects you. Someone posts something that gets under your skin. And before you know it, it's blazing. You're saying things you can't take back, doing things you'll regret later. How many relationships have been burned to ashes because of a few seconds of uncontrolled anger? How many opportunities lost? How many bridges torched? One spark is all it takes. That's why Islam teaches self-control as real strength. Because if you can master yourself in that fiery moment, you can master almost anything. Now, here's the crazy part. The Prophet gave us actual practical tools for dealing with anger. He didn't just say, "Don't be angry," and leave it at that. He taught us, if you're standing, sit down. If you're sitting, lie down. Change your position, change your state. He said, go make wudu, wash yourself with water, cool down the fire, and if you really can't handle it, stay silent. Don't feed the fire with words. Modern psychology calls this pattern interruption. Islam had it mapped out centuries ago. That's next-level wisdom, but let's make it personal. Imagine you're in an argument with someone you love. You can feel the anger bubbling up. Your voice is getting louder. You know if you say the next line that's loading in your head, it'll cut deep. But you stop. You breathe. You walk away. In that moment, you didn't just save the relationship. You proved to yourself that you are stronger than your emotions. You showed mastery, and that kind of strength. It's rare. People respect it. People feel it, and here's what's fascinating. The strongest leaders in history weren't the ones who ruled with temper tantrums. They were the ones who ruled with calm restraint. The Prophet himself faced insults, mockery, even physical harm. And yet, he responded with dignity. Once, a man came and grabbed him harshly by the collar, demanding money. The companions were ready to react, but the Prophet smiled, told them to let him go, and actually gave the man what he asked for. That's power. That's strength that doesn't need to shout. The truth is, losing your temper feels powerful in the moment, but it always leaves you weaker afterward. You feel drained, guilty, ashamed, but controlling your temper feels tough in the moment, and later it leaves you proud, lighter, respected. It's like lifting weights. You struggle while holding it, but you come out stronger. Anger is the same. Every time you hold it back, your self-control muscle grows, and here's something we don't realize. Anger isn't just about hurting others. It hurts you first. Science says unchecked anger raises your blood pressure, spikes your stress hormones, weakens your immune system. It literally makes you sick. No wonder Islam told us to cool it, to ground ourselves, to channel it instead of letting it run wild. Because your body, your heart, your soul, they all pay the price when you let anger own you. But when you flip the script, when you start mastering that fire, everything changes. Suddenly, people trust you more. They know you won't snap under pressure. They know you're steady, and you start trusting yourself more too. That's a level of confidence no gym membership can buy. So yeah, you can bench, press 200 pounds, but can you hold back your tongue when someone pushes your buttons? You can run a marathon, but can you run away from your ego when it's trying to drag you into a fight? That's the real question, because true strength isn't about how much you can overpower others. It's about how much you can overpower yourself, all right, but how do you actually live with that strength daily? That's where the secret rhythm of life comes in.